Business environment. Technology provides employees more flexibility than ever when working. However, technological advances can create new threats to the security and privacy of confidential information. So, just what are these risks posed, and how can organisations make information security a priority? And for more analysis of the issues facing employers, let's bring in our regular workplace law commentator, Joydeep Hor, Managing Principal of People and Culture Strategies. Joydeep, as always, an absolute pleasure to have you on the program. Look, let's start with, what are the common types of issues that employers are facing when dealing with IT security?
Yeah, James, I think one of the biggest issues at the moment is just the proliferation of information, not just the volume of information that organisations are having to deal with and manage, but also the range of sources and locations, if you like, where that particular information might be available. So we've gone from an era where all corporate information was fairly centrally located within a place of work, to an era where you've got significant amounts of information that are travelling with employees, with contractors, which is retained in many instances at other places such as their home or indeed client sites, customer sites, etc. And even with any given employee at any given point in time, you've got devices such as smartphones, tablets, laptops and a whole range of other things. So it's just this vast proliferation, both in terms of content and location and device, if you like, that is really something that employers, while lapping up the upsides of, are probably not doing enough to really manage in terms of the protection of their risks.
Well, just on that, and I imagine due to demands of an organisation, employees at some point or another may have no option than to work remotely. So from the employer perspective, how can they actually ensure that their policies, their procedures are being followed if they're not actually there present where the employee is?
Well, what the most important thing is for an employer is to have clearly defined policies and protocols, and they really need to consider that alternative place of work, and let's assume that we are talking about an employee working from home, as very much an extension of the workplace. Now, that might seem a little bit counterintuitive, because employers often say, well, look, a person's home is their person's home, we'll just take the upside of them doing some work from home, but we really won't do anything to try to regulate the parameters of what work is done and how that is done. And my advice to employers is, well, you need to throw that out the window a little bit. Respecting the privacy of a home is one thing, but the moment that employee starts to do work from home, for all intents and purposes, that is a workplace. And the same rules, regulations, policies, procedures that you would want to apply within your workplace should similarly be applicable to the extent possible to other places of work. And so employers need to start to think of these alternative places of work as nothing more than extensions of the actual workplace or the central workplace.
So can an employer legally monitor the work that an employee is doing remotely, i.e. from home?
Yeah, absolutely. There's certainly restrictions, both from a privacy point of view and from a surveillance point of view, which differs slightly from Australian state and territory to different state and territory. But big picture-wise, an employer has a lot of rights and indeed lots of responsibilities to ensure that it is monitoring confidential information, it is monitoring employee usage of confidential information, and that does extend, subject to complying with relevant regulations, and often these are nothing more than just notification requirements to employees, to the work that is being done, and the way in which that work is being done by employees, regardless of where that work is being done.
Fantastic, Joydeep. Unfortunately, we do have to leave it there, but great as always to talk. Thank you.
Not a problem.